Wrestling fam, welcome back to Wrestling Juice, your home for the wildest and most in-depth breakdowns in professional wrestling, and today we're diving into a storyline that has the WWE Universe buzzing like never before because it revolves around the possibility of Roman Reigns costing Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship at the highly anticipated Clash in Paris event, a scenario that could change the trajectory of WWE for years to come. Seth Rollins shocked the world at SummerSlam 2025 by becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion, pulling off what many have dubbed the ruse of the century after dethroning CM Punk mere minutes after Punk had battled through a war with Gunther to win the title. Using the Money in the Bank contract to cash in at the perfect moment, Rollins struck like a viper, leaving Punk's first world title reign in over a decade lasting only 5 minutes, cementing himself as the most cunning man in WWE and setting himself up as the self-proclaimed ruler of Monday Night Raw. However, absolute control comes with a target on your back, and Rollins has to defend his championship with the entire locker room gunning for him, none more dangerous than the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, who may see Clash in Paris on August 31, 2025 as the perfect moment to strike and humiliate his former Shield brother in front of the world. SummerSlam was a two-night spectacle at MetLife Stadium that reshaped WWE's entire landscape. On night 1, CM Punk outlasted Gunther in a grueling 30-minute battle, drawing on every ounce of resilience to hit 2 GTS finishers and finally claim the World Heavyweight Championship, but before the celebration could even settle, Rollins, feigning injury and limping to the ring with Paul Heyman, tossed aside his crutches, cashed in, and hit a devastating curb stomp to snatch the title in under 5 minutes. The betrayal of the moment sent shockwaves across the industry, and social media erupted, praising Rollins' audacity while reigniting the ever-burning tension with Roman Reigns, who had earlier that night returned to action in dominant fashion alongside Jey Uso to defeat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, making a statement that he had lost none of his edge since WrestleMania 41 and subtly signaling that he had Rollins in his crosshairs. On night 2, chaos reigned as Brock Lesnar made a shocking return, laying out John Cena after Cody Rhodes' victory, injecting even more uncertainty into the power struggle at the top of WWE and hinting that his path might eventually cross with Reigns and Rollins again. The Raw after SummerSlam at Barclays Center was pure bedlam, with Rollins flanked by Heyman, Breaker, and Reed, gloating about his victory until LA Knight interrupted and earned a main event title match. That clash was interrupted by a vengeful CM Punk, leading to a vision beatdown of both Punk and Knight until Roman Reigns' music hit and the tribal chief charged in to even the odds, but Rollins evaded him, Breaker speared him, and Reed crushed him with 3 tsunami splashes, leaving the Vision standing tall while Punk mocked Reigns online, adding fuel to the fire for Paris. Reports suggest Rollins' title defense in Paris could be against Punk in a rematch or in a triple threat with LA Knight, and with Adam Pearce likely banning the Vision from ringside after their repeated interference, it could create the perfect opportunity for Reigns to act. The history between Reigns and Rollins is a decade of betrayal and championship theft. Rollins' infamous steel chair attack in 2014 that shattered the Shield, the WrestleMania 31 heist where Rollins stole the title from Reigns and Lesnar, and Heyman's betrayal at WrestleMania 41 that once again left Reigns in the dirt. Now with Rollins as champion and Heyman by his side, Reigns could deliver a poetic payback by costing him the title in Paris. Imagine the moment. Rollins versus Punk in the closing minutes, Rollins lining up the curb stomp as the Paris crowd roars, only for Reigns' music to hit. The tribal chief storms through the crowd, spears Rollins in half, and watches as Punk or Knight seizes the pin. Standing over Rollins' broken body with a smirk, Reigns would finally turn the tables, delivering a psychological blow that could shake the Vision's foundation. Losing the title would tarnish Rollins' aura of invincibility and threaten his faction's dominance, while for Reigns, it would be a reminder to the world that he is still the head of the table. Such a move could set up a blockbuster feud for Survivor Series or even WrestleMania 42, with potential War Games battles between the Bloodline and the Vision, CM Punk's revenge quest against Rollins, LA Knight's possible heel turn after repeated interference costing him opportunities, and even Brock Lesnar's unpredictable role as a potential ally or enemy. The stakes could not be higher. Roman Reigns costing Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in Paris would not just be another match twist, it would be a seismic moment, the culmination of years of personal and professional betrayal, and the ignition point for a new era of WWE storytelling. The road to Paris is paved with chaos, egos, and grudges, and on August 31st, the question is simple: will Reigns finally outsmart the architect, or will Rollins find a way to keep his gold and his dominance intact? Wrestling fam, welcome back to Wrestling Juice, your home for the wildest, most in-depth, and adrenaline-fueled breakdowns in professional wrestling, and today we're about to go deep into a storyline that has the WWE Universe buzzing louder than a sold-out WrestleMania crowd, because this is no ordinary feud, no random match booking, but a collision of egos, legacies, and long-simmering grudges that could explode at Clash in Paris in a way that will leave the entire wrestling world stunned. The talk right now is that Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the man who ruled WWE for over 3 years, could return on August 31, 2025, to cost Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship, not for gold, not even for bragging rights, but for revenge, for humiliation, and for the sheer satisfaction of turning the tables on the one man who has made a career out of stabbing him in the back. To understand the magnitude of what might be coming, we have to go back to where the seeds were planted, because Seth Rollins' shocking SummerSlam 2025 victory wasn't just about winning a title, it was about cementing his image as the most manipulative mastermind in WWE. On night 1 of SummerSlam at the massive MetLife Stadium, CM Punk, fresh off winning a brutal gauntlet match on Raw, stepped into the ring against Gunther in a match that was pure wrestling grit. For 30 minutes, Punk battled the ring general in a contest that saw him busted open, pushed to the brink, and forced to dig deep into a well of experience that had been built over more than a decade. Finally, with the crowd of over 50,000 roaring, Punk landed 2 crushing go-to-sleep finishers to capture the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time in 12 years. It was supposed to be his moment of glory, a crowning achievement after years away from the pinnacle of WWE. But then, like a vulture sensing weakness, Seth Rollins' music hit. Limping down the ramp with Paul Heyman at his side, selling an injury and leaning on crutches, Rollins entered the ring only to toss the crutches away, reveal he was fine, and cash in his Money in the Bank contract. One devastating curb stomp later, Punk's reign ended before it could even begin, lasting just 5 minutes, and the visionary once again stood atop WWE, his grin as wide as the disbelief spreading across the arena. Social media exploded with both outrage and admiration, calling it the ruse of the century. That same night, Roman Reigns made his in-ring return alongside Jey Uso to face the monstrous duo of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The tribal chief showed no sign of ring rust, spearing Breaker for the pin after an USO splash from Jey. As Reigns stood victorious, his eyes locked on Rollins, who was smirking from the ramp alongside Heyman, and in that glare was the unspoken promise that their paths would collide again. Night 2 of SummerSlam added more fuel to the fire when Brock Lesnar stormed back into WWE, F5ing John Cena after Cody Rhodes' victory and shaking up the main event picture even further. The Raw after SummerSlam at Barclays Center was chaos from the moment it began. Rollins, flanked by Heyman, Breaker, and Reed, strutted to the ring to brag about his cunning victory, calling himself the architect of Raw's future and declaring that no one could take the title from him. LA Knight interrupted, reminding Rollins that he'd already beaten him at Saturday night's main event, and a title match was set for later that night. In the main event, Rollins' speed clashed with Knight's raw grit, but before either could secure the win, CM Punk stormed the ring, still seething from SummerSlam, and attacked Rollins, causing a disqualification. The Vision swarmed, laying out Punk and Knight with a merciless beatdown, but the atmosphere changed in an instant when Roman Reigns' music hit. The crowd erupted as the tribal chief sprinted to the ring, taking out Breaker and Reed with ferocity, but Rollins dodged his attack, and in the chaos, Breaker speared Reigns and Reed delivered 3 bone-crushing tsunami splashes. The Vision stood tall over Punk, Knight, and Reigns, a statement that even the head of the table couldn't ignore. Punk mocked Reigns on Instagram the next day, posting, "At least I still have my shoes," a sarcastic jab at Reigns' loss of control and a nod to recent humiliations at the hands of his enemies. With tensions boiling over, Clash in Paris became the perfect storm. Reports suggest Rollins will defend his championship against Punk in a one-on-one rematch or in a triple threat that could also feature LA Knight. Adam Pearce, seeing the constant interference from the Vision, may well ban Breakker and Reed from ringside, leaving Rollins without his usual backup and vulnerable to the kind of chaos only Roman Reigns can create. The history between Rollins and Reigns is stained with betrayal. The steel chair attack in 2014 that shattered the Shield, Rollins' WrestleMania 31 heist that stole the WWE Championship from Reigns and Lesnar, and Heyman's betrayal at WrestleMania 41 that handed Rollins another victory over the Tribal Chief. Now, with Rollins riding high and Heyman once again at his side, Reigns has a chance for poetic justice. Imagine it, Rollins is moments away from victory in Paris, lining up for the curb stomp as the crowd rises to its feet, when the familiar opening notes of Roman's music hit. The Paris arena shakes as the Tribal Chief storms through the crowd, slides into the ring, and levels Rollins with a spear that echoes through the building. Punk or Knight, whichever is in the match, seizes the moment and pins Rollins. Reigns doesn't even look at them, his eyes are locked on Rollins as he smirks, finally turning the tables after years of being one step behind the architect. For Rollins, losing the title here would be catastrophic. The Vision's dominance rests entirely on his gold, and a loss without his faction to protect him would crack the foundation of his power. For Reigns, it's about reclaiming his spot as the alpha of WWE, reminding everyone that he is still the head of the table. For WWE, this would ignite a feud that could headline Survivor Series in a War Games match or culminate in a WrestleMania 42 showdown. Punk's pursuit of revenge could keep his feud with Rollins alive, LA Knight could turn heel after feeling robbed of his opportunity yet again, and Brock Lesnar's wildcard presence could throw every alliance into question. There's even the potential for a faction war, with Reigns and Jay recruiting allies like Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, or Jacob Fatu to battle the Vision in an all-out war for dominance. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the only question left is whether Roman Reigns will pull the trigger in Paris. If he does, it won't just be another twist in a long feud, it will be the kind of moment WWE fans talk about for years, the night the Tribal Chief turned the architect's own playbook against him and reminded the world why his reign of dominance is far from over. Wrestling fam, welcome back to Wrestling Juice, the home for the most in-depth, wild, and unapologetically detailed breakdowns in all of professional wrestling, and today we are going deep, so deep that by the time we're done, you'll feel like you've lived through every twist, betrayal, and psychological war yourself, because the whispers shaking the WWE universe right now aren't just another rumor, they're the kind of high-stakes, history-drenched speculation that makes fans' blood run hot. We're talking about the very real possibility that Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, the man who for over 1,300 days ruled WWE with an iron fist, could be plotting a cold, calculated strike at Clash in Paris on August 31, 2025, one that would see him cost Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight Championship in a moment so symbolic, so loaded with personal history, that it would echo across the industry for years. To truly grasp the gravity of this potential moment, we have to rewind, not just to SummerSlam 2025, but to the entire blood-soaked, betrayal-laced history between these two men, a rivalry that began not over titles, but over trust, brotherhood, and a single steel chair that changed everything in June 2014 when Rollins turned on the Shield and shattered their bond for good. SummerSlam 2025 was more than a pay-per-view. It was a two-night seismic shift that altered WWE's landscape from top to bottom. Night 1 in the electric atmosphere of MetLife Stadium saw CM Punk, freshly rejuvenated after years of tension with the company, step into the ring against the indomitable Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk had clawed his way to this opportunity by surviving a grueling gauntlet match on Raw, earning the right to challenge the ring general, and their match was a 30-minute masterclass in physical and mental warfare. Gunther battered Punk, splitting him open, but Punk fought back with grit born of 12 years away from the world title picture, finally hitting 2 GTS finishers to the deafening roar of over 50,000 fans. For a few glorious moments, Punk stood tall as world champion, his redemption arc seemingly complete, until Seth Rollins' music hit. Out he came, flanked by Paul Heyman, hobbling on crutches and wearing the face of a man barely able to stand, playing the crowd like a fiddle. Then, with the world watching, Rollins tossed the crutches aside, revealed his ruse, cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, and within moments flattened Punk with a curb stomp to become World Heavyweight Champion once again. The internet exploded, dubbing it the ruse of the century, but for Roman Reigns, watching from the shadows, that smirk on Rollins' face wasn't just arrogance, it was a reminder of every time the architect had stolen something from him. Earlier that night, Reigns had stepped back into the ring for the first time since WrestleMania 41, teaming with Jey Uso to take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The match was hard-hitting, but Reigns showed zero rust, spearing Breaker to score the win after a USO splash. As the crowd roared, Reigns looked up the ramp and locked eyes with Rollins, who was standing there with Heyman, soaking in his ill-gotten glory. No words were exchanged, but the message was clear: unfinished business. Night 2's shot came in the form of Brock Lesnar's thunderous return, laying out John Cena after Cody Rhodes' successful title defense. While it didn't directly involve Reigns or Rollins, it added another unpredictable variable to an already chaotic main event scene, especially given Lesnar's tangled history with both men and his long, complicated past with Heyman. The chaos spilled over to the August 4th Raw at Barclays Center, where Rollins, draped in his new championship and flanked by Heyman, Breaker, and Reed, strutted to the ring to gloat. He called himself the architect of Monday Night Raw's future and promised to crush anyone who dared challenge him. LA Knight interrupted, pointing out that he had beaten Rollins just weeks earlier, and demanded a title shot that very night. The main event was set, and what followed was a fast-paced clash of styles, Rollins' agility and cunning against Knight's grit and swagger. But just as the match reached its fever pitch, CM Punk stormed the ring, still burning from SummerSlam, and attacked Rollins, causing a disqualification. The Vision swarmed, beating Punk and Knight into the mat, until suddenly the arena lights shifted and Roman Reigns' music hit like a thunderclap. The Tribal Chief charged in, spearing Breaker and brawling with Reed, but Rollins slipped away, and in the chaos Breaker recovered to spear Reigns before Reed crushed him with not one, not two, but 3 tsunami splashes. The Vision stood tall, smirking down at the battered bodies around them, while Punk later trolled Reigns online with the jab, "At least I still have my shoes," mocking Reigns' inability to shift the tide in that moment. That humiliation was not something Reigns would let go unanswered. Now, with Clash in Paris looming, the rumor mill suggests Rollins will defend the title against Punk in a one-on-one rematch or in a triple threat with LA Knight, and Adam Pearce is heavily considering banning the Vision from ringside to prevent another tainted finish. And that, Wrestling Fam, is the opening Roman Reigns lives for. The parallels are too perfect to ignore. Rollins alone in the ring, on the verge of victory, only for the man he's outsmarted for years to finally flip the script. Imagine it. Rollins is poised for the curb stomp, the Paris crowd is in a frenzy, and suddenly Roman's theme blasts through the arena. He storms through the crowd, slides into the ring, and delivers a spear with such force that it rattles the bones of everyone watching. Punk or Knight dives in for the pin, takes the title, and Reigns doesn't even look at them. His eyes are locked solely on Rollins, his smirk saying what words never could: checkmate. The fallout from such a moment would be nuclear. Rollins without the championship loses the leverage that holds the Vision together, and cracks would begin to form in his empire. Reigns would reassert himself as the puppet master, the man who can play Rollins' own game and win. From there, the possibilities are endless. A full-blown Reigns vs. Rollins feud leading to Survivor Series or WrestleMania 42, a War Games match pitting the Bloodline potentially reunited with Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, and even Jacob Fatu against the Vision, CM Punk's revenge saga. Continuing with new intensity, LA Knight's possible heel turn after being robbed yet again, and Brock Lesnar's wildcard presence threatening to smash every faction in sight. This isn't just another feud, It's the continuation of one of WWE's most personal and bitter rivalries, steeped in betrayal, ambition, and a decade of unfinished business, and Clash in Paris could be the night it all erupts in spectacular fashion. August 31st isn't